Hi guys. So I am doing something very different today. As some of you know, I am also a writer. I write, and I recently started a blog, or at least I set it up, that is dedicated to my sister, and specifically to sibling loss and loss via suicide. And I finally sat down today to write the first entry after a month, and that will become apparent as I read the entry to you. That's what I'm taking this video to do. So if you feel like just reading the entry, I have a link to it. You can do that. But if you're more of an audio person or a visual person, you're more than welcome to stay tuned into the video. And my apologies ahead of time for the construction sounds outside. Nothing we can do about that. If you hear crazy banging, just know that everything is okay. Yeah. Also, a little tired looking, not wearing makeup. You'll see why. Okay. Let me start by saying that I created this blog over a month ago, and these are the first words I've been able to write in it. I am the kind of person who will put off buying someone a birthday gift until well after their birthday because I don't want to get them just any old thing to mark the occasion. I want to get them the perfect thing, and that takes time, thought, and luck. The perfect gift does not just fall into your lap. It appears to you in some indirect, unexpected way when the universe feels like revealing it, and often when you least expect it. Well, that's how it is with me in writing. Any type of meaningful, emotionally taxing writing, that is. I wait for the muse, and that's how it's been with this blog. Except that in this instance, it's been like waiting for the muse and waiting to stumble upon that perfect gift. Both scenarios rolled into one. Because that's really what this blog is. It's a gift to my sister. In many ways, I feel immense pressure to do her spirit justice with anything I write here. It's beyond just my own compulsory desire to make the writing articulate and honest and accessible, in a word, good. In fact, the more conscious I have been of the desire to make these blog posts any of those self-aggrandizing things, the more reticent I have been to begin writing, because all those thoughts are about me, not about Kim. Any notion of how these posts may reflect on me feels selfish and out of place here. And yet, here I am talking about myself. It's exhausting. And this is how it goes. And of any of you out there who've lost a sibling, you probably know what I'm talking about here. The day-to-day thoughts spin and spin from your sibling and all that has been lost to where this leaves you, what matters now, what doesn't, and what the hell you're supposed to do with the rest of your time here on Earth, because it can't possibly be whatever you were doing exactly before. It is exhausting. It feels wrong that this cyclical train of thought should always lead back to you in the wake of all that your sibling has lost in dying too soon. But we can't help it. We're the ones left here. We don't know for sure where they are, but we hope, every day we hope, that it's a better place than here. And that some beautifully fateful day we'll be reunited with them. But until then, what? And I guess that brings me to today. I was not ready to write. I did not feel the muse or the surprise delivery of the gift for my sister. But see, today is the 6-month anniversary of Kim's death. A death that she chose, not I. And so, in that way, she called the shots on this one too. I find myself starting this blog today because I feel like Kim needs to be somehow particularly remembered today. Or rather because in an indirect subconscious way, she asked to be remembered today. In those last few hours of her life, which I imagine were either unimaginably emotional and mentally harrowing, or peaceful and resolved, more peaceful and resolved than any of us left here would understand. I don't think she thought about what the anniversaries of her death would be like for the rest of us. I don't think she thought about this because I think that in order to go through with taking her own life, all her willpower had to go towards sticking to her belief that this choice would be the best one for everyone. She said more than once in the year prior to her death that she was choosing to be alive only for us, for our family, because she knew how much it would hurt us to be without her. People who largely don't have any personal experience with suicides, its causes, its complexities, its victims, will flippantly label it as a selfish act. But none of us are here to live our lives solely for others. None of us here do that, no matter how altruistic the best of our lifestyles may be. To be in such a desperately hopeless state that you act in deliberate opposition to your most basic instinct, survival, you must be beyond the bounds of selfish and selfless. It seems to me that in these most despairing of scenarios, there is such a real disconnect from the self, or at least the self in bodily form, that these very human ideas of selfish and selfless don't even apply. I am yet to meet one family member of a suicide victim who has deemed their loved one's act a solely selfish one. When I think about Kim, her enormous capacity for empathy, and the tenderness with which she held each person in her heart, it is impossible for me to entertain the notion that in those last hours she was doing anything but fighting her deep desire to take care of everyone in order to follow through with the release she so desperately needed. She said before that she wanted to die, but she did not have the courage to take her own life. She felt that her cowardice, not her strength, was what kept her waking up every day only to take her mind in emotion-numbing medication and to keep her trying in this over-medicated fog to find purpose over and over again. I cannot blame her for her choice. I have enough perspective to understand that there was a real possibility things would have continued like this for years, for the rest of her natural life. And I would never have wanted that for her. None of us would have. What I wish for all the time is that she never had to experience this kind of life in the first place. I wish that she was not dealt that hand, and I wish that our society and our medical profession knew more about how to properly deal with and cure mental illnesses of all kinds. And even though I know it's not logical, I wish I could have saved her. Because no matter what I've been able to tell myself in and out, over and across these past 6 months, I am Kim's older sister, and I still feel like I should have saved her. I go to this support group, Compassionate Friends, for people who have lost children, grandchildren, and siblings of all ages. It really helps me to cleanse the pain and frustration and persistently heavy thoughts that build up in me throughout the days and weeks. And my consistent breakdowns at each meeting remind me of how much weight I carry in my heart and how much I suppress in order to keep going. Some of the people at the meeting who are many years into their grief process say that eventually you really do start to think of the good memories more than the bad, that you start to remember and celebrate your loved one's life more than you concentrate on their death. I believe that this is probably true, and I appreciate the perspective of these veterans, that these veterans bring to the rest of us rookies. But I also can't help being a little repelled by the idea that maybe I won't be as sad someday. Right now, the sadness keeps Kim present, and I don't want there to be a time when she is any less so. I also worry about the passage of time because I feel like it draws closer the moment when the general public has arbitrarily decided that the grieving process is over, that I am past the worst, and I can and should move on. I like my support group for this reason too, because at every meeting, someone brings up the fact that their friends or their boss or the clerk at the corner store no longer wants to hear about their dead child or sibling. The loss loses relevancy to the rest of the fast-paced world. In many ways, I don't think I really knew how fast the world moved until Kim died. It moves 1,000 miles a minute. And these past 6 months of feeling like I've been moving through mud have made everyone else seem that they are just flying by on overdrive. Anyway, I mention this about my support group and the notion of celebrating a life versus mourning a death, because I don't know which to do today. I think I sat down with the intention to do both in some sort of articulate, organized way, but I don't think I can. They feel so interwoven today that I can barely make out where mourning stops and celebration begins. The mourning train of thought eventually brings out a happy memory, and then the happy memory train leads back to the loss in the mourning. And so it goes. I think the only thing I can say right now that encapsulates it all is just that I miss her so very, very much. I miss her beautiful smile and her adorable and hugely infectious laugh. I miss the way she danced. I miss the way she moved in space. I miss the way her hands felt a little rough and her fingers a little pudgy in mine. I miss the way she said my name. Hi, Nikki. I would give anything to hear her say hi to me again. I miss the way she would get so excited to play a new song for me, one of hers or someone else's. I miss the way her piano playing resounded throughout the house. I miss the concentrated look on her face, the forward lean towards the screen, and the bobbing of her head along with her beats as she'd sit there creating a new track on her computer. I miss Christmas. I missed waking up with her early in the morning and waiting until our parents were ready for us to walk into the family room together to find our presents. I miss sitting next to her at the top of the stairs before they let us in. I miss all the Christmases that will never happen like that again. I miss being young with her. I miss sharing a bedroom with her, which I did every day until the night that I went off to college. I miss when she'd crawl into bed with me and we'd cuddle all night, which we did even up until the last time I was home visiting her. It's been 6 months since she died and over 9 since the last time I saw her in person. I miss every second I could have, but did not spend time with her while she was here. I miss the phone conversations we'd have when we'd just go on about life and what we were learning and how precisely we could relate to one another's sentiments. I miss hearing her little voice saying, "More than anyone." I love you, Nikki. More than anyone. We'd say that to each other all the time. And it always made my heart sing to know that we meant that much to each other. Because, of course, I felt the same way. And I guess this is where the train starkly turns back to the morning station. And to me. And the constant question of what is left for me here without her. I feel that every attempt to tell others just how much I loved her, just how much I love her still, falls woefully short and always will. I feel like I'm stuck in a world as one half of a two-part whole. I feel like a large chunk of the rest of my life will be stuck in the isolating frustration of trying to accurately describe who my other half was and how intrinsically tied we were to one another, and how deep the cut of our separation really goes. For all of you out there who have lost a sibling, I say to you now that you never have to feel that frustration when you talk to me. You never have to feel the pain of not having enough words to describe your loss. I know it without words, as you do mine. Our brothers and sisters walk alongside us every day, and in those times when we have trouble feeling their presence, we will be there to remind each other. We are in some very different but very real and poignant way, each other's siblings on earth. We are all walking around as some fraction of our whole, and that bonds us. We can meet here. We can talk here. For our siblings, in order to remember and honor them, and for us, in order to keep moving through every day with the knowledge that we are not alone. I will take heart in the fact that Kim has your beautiful siblings to keep her company, and hopefully you will take heart knowing that they have her. I hope you will post pictures. I hope you will share memories. I hope we can all come here when we're having a shit day and we need a hand to hold. I think that's what our siblings would want us to do. Thank you for reading, or listening, or watching. Thank you for letting Kim live in these posts. Thank you.